The Kentucky Small Business Development Center is a statewide, nationally accredited program that provides no-cost, confidential business coaching and training services. Whether you're just getting started or are ready to expand, we have the tools, resources, and expertise to help you succeed. We're part of a national network, America's SBDC, with over 1,000 centers across the nation. To learn more about how the Kentucky SBDC can serve you, please visit KentuckySBDC.com or email us at info@KentuckySBDC.com. You can also reach us by calling 888-414-7232. Thank you for joining today's webinar. The chat feature is available for you to ask questions and interact with today's speaker. Please take a moment to introduce yourself and where you are watching from today.
Welcome, everyone, to another Wednesday webinar. Thanks for joining. I'm Dave Etkin. I'm the Center Director here in Louisville, part of the Kentucky Small Business Development Center Network. Again, if you look to the right of your screen, there is the chat feature. And if you have any questions for our presenter, you can put them there. We'll answer them as we get towards the end of the presentation. And just to test that everything's working and you can hear me loud and clear, just say hello and tell us where you're joining us from so we can kind of see where everybody is. So looks like Shannon's on. Good to see you again, Shannon. Rashi. So yeah, just say hello. It's good to see you. Again, I'm Dave Etkin. I'm the director here in Louisville. I have a great guest today, my great friend, Jordan Clemons, who is he is the client engagement manager here at Greater Louisville, Inc., the Chamber of Commerce in Louisville, Kentucky. He is one of the masters of LinkedIn, and he has used his LinkedIn skills just in simple ways to kind of build, when he was in the financial services business, to build his client base, and now he manages client relations for Greater Louisville, Inc. So, Jordan, are you on?
Microphone on now. I went ahead and got that out of the way. Hey.
All right. So, Jordan, good to see you, and thanks for joining us again today. You know, every day, every morning, probably around 8 o'clock, I get a little ping from you from LinkedIn, something that you're just sharing, and every day you're the first person I think I engage with in the morning, whether you know it or not, and you do a great job with that. And that's why I wanted you to bring back on, kind of tell everybody your secret sauce. You really know how to manage LinkedIn and use it to kind of grow your network and your business. So, Jordan, why don't you just share with everybody and tell us a little bit about how you do it.
Sure. Thanks, Dave. It's a pleasure to be here again today. Hi to everyone. Thank you for coming. LinkedIn isn't very complicated. It's actually quite easy. I know it's a little bit of a different animal as far as social media goes, but if you're here today, hopefully you are motivated to start using LinkedIn a little more. You already see some of the value of the platform, and what you're in for is, I don't know how long this is going to last, but you're just going to hear a bunch of evangelizing from me about how I personally have used this platform to grow my network, get a bunch of sales, make a ton of friends, and really just enrich my life. It sounds a little bit overarching maybe, but it honestly is true. I've been giving this talk to a few groups of people. It seems like it's a pretty popular topic. So happy to be here today to just tell you my experience. And I'll preface all that by saying that I never use Facebook. I don't have an Instagram. I use Twitter just to stay on top of what Elon is doing. So I am the least social media savvy person that you probably ever meet. LinkedIn is a networking tool. It's a social network, but it's a networking tool. I spend a lot of time on it, and the return on investment for that time is crazy. With that, I will just jump into my presentation. What we're talking about today is very simple. Just 3 simple habits for creating professional relationships using LinkedIn. It's really, really simple. So what are the 3 habits? First off, before we get there, I'll give you a little bit more background about me. As Dave mentioned, the year was 2013. I found myself an independent financial advisor. I was 25 years old at the time, and I had no idea how to network. how to meet people, how to form professional relationships whatsoever. I could not have been less prepared for this role other than having my Series 7 and 66 license, which is books and studying and taking a test. It has nothing to do whatsoever with selling or networking or managing relationships. So here I was. The year's 2013, Bitcoin was at $300, I think, if we could only go back to those days and make a few investments. But anyway, it was a while ago. And when I found myself in this role, the advice that I was given to network, a piece of the advice, it wasn't all of it, but a piece of it was go knock on some doors and cold call some businesses. Okay, I understand that that's a way to build your business. That's a way to get people to know you and who you are, but it wasn't the way that I preferred to do things. I found LinkedIn. I started leaning more heavily into LinkedIn. I saw the capabilities that it would hold to get people to know, like, and trust me, which is the basis for any business relationship. So I leaned into that a lot. And it's this basic process that I still use today. I wanted to expand my network. I went to networking events all the time. It was, 3 a week, 4 a week, sometimes 5 a week. That was before I had 2 twins at home. So a lot more latitude to do things like that. But those are the reasons why I went to this platform to begin with. I was a financial advisor. I was new in the role, didn't know how to network, didn't really want to knock on doors or cold call. I only had so much time in the day to go to networking events. And there was this platform that I was aware of. I had a profile, but it was really just an online resume, which is what I saw it then. Leaned heavily into it, which is what got me to now. So if you look at current stats, about 7,400 connections. Those are mostly in the Louisville area. They're almost all from people I've either met in person, someone's introduced me to them, they've engaged with some of my content. These aren't people that I just scattershot send connection requests to. These are people who have come into my sphere based on doing these 3 things every single day. I make about 10 to 20 meaningful new connections a day. Again, this is from people who are engaging with my stuff. You'll see more about what I mean as we go on, but this is the momentum that this has built up. It's truly mind-boggling, the amount of connections and the amount of people that are in my network today. I was at a board meeting just this morning. I met 2 people there. It's a board that I'm new on. I met 2 people there and had never met them in person. And they said, "You look really familiar. I think we're connected on LinkedIn." And that happens to me almost every single business conversation in that setting. It's crazy. People know your face and know where you work. That's really valuable when you're out here trying to build a business and trying to make a name for yourself in the business community. There's something called Social Selling Index. It's sort of like your credit score on LinkedIn. I'm in the top 1% for my network and for my industry. Pretty proud of that. I would say 95% of my business, if not more, is sourced on LinkedIn. As Dave mentioned, I work at GLI. I recruit members to the organization. We're the Chamber of Commerce here in Louisville. That's fertile ground for me. I'm trying to talk to business professionals, people who are out here trying to make connections and grow their businesses. That's where these people are, and that's why they're on the platform. The stars could not align any better for someone like me in this position to be using a platform like this, which is why I talk about it all day long, almost every day. And then I have, who knows how many active conversations on LinkedIn, but this is really where the magic happens, is when you really start talking to people. So as any sales professional knows, the more people you talk to, the more opportunities that you have. And there are just so many active conversations on LinkedIn that I have based upon doing these 3 steps every single morning. Hopefully that's some incentive to take some notes today. I promise it's not rocket science, but if you apply these 3 tactics every day, remember it's 2013 when I said I started using it, it's almost 2022, which is crazy. And looking back, I didn't invest in Bitcoin, that missed the boat on that one, but I didn't miss the boat on LinkedIn. And after doing this for so long, the rewards that it is starting to give me, and has been for a long, long time now, is just incredible. I shudder to think if maybe I hadn't started habitually using this platform, my life would not be as great. And hopefully that's where we'll get you to here after this presentation. And I realized maybe not everyone's like me. I'm a super networker. I'm a people person. I thrive on making connections, and I get paid to do that. Everything aligns. Maybe you don't resonate with all the things that I'm saying here, but if you're tuned in today, then that means you at least want to learn how to use the platform better. And you're going to learn that here today. It's not complicated. I always forget to say this, except for this time, because I just remembered all of this stuff is on the free version. LinkedIn has multiple paid versions of the service, Sales Navigator being one of them. Super duper complex. I don't even know how to use those to their fullest capabilities. A couple times I've tried the trial version, taken the courses to see if it would get its hooks in me, if I could use it. I don't need it. You don't need it. This is very simple. You can remove that stress of thinking that you have to learn how to navigate that. If you have the basic version of the platform, then you can do all of these things. So here are the 3 steps, and they're sequential. The first is post once per day, preferably in the morning. As Dave mentioned, he sees my content first thing in the morning because I do this every single day. Monday through Friday, I get 5 chances to make an impression on my network in whatever way I choose to do. I don't post more than that because I do a lot of stuff that I think it would be cool to share, but just a hard, fast rule. I think you get the most engagement and you're the most consistent when you post once per day, preferably in the morning. We're going to connect with people who engage with your posts. That makes sense, right? I'll show you how to do that. And then once we connect with those people, we're going to start a conversation. That's all that we're doing here. It's virtual networking. I know virtual, that word has been used 1,000 times more over the past year, and it's here to stay. And LinkedIn is the way that you do virtual networking. I don't know how else. There's not another platform. There's really not another competitor. They do a great job at it. And that's what we're doing here. And we're doing it with these 3 steps. And Dave, if anyone has a question, I'm happy to wait till the end, or if you want to interrupt me to answer it, happy to do that as well. I don't want to leave anybody out in the cold if they have something pressing while I'm talking.
Okay, we'll keep an eye on it.
Let's just jump right in. 1, 2, 3. 3 steps. 3 steps. Post once per day, preferably in the morning. This should be pretty simple for people. So we're going to do for these 3 steps, we're going to do the why so that you can understand the reasoning behind this, so that you believe it, because if you don't believe something, you're really not going to do it. And then how do you do it? So I'm going to empower you with exactly how to do that. Why do we want to post once per day, preferably in the morning? Well, if you want the cumulative effects of doing something good, you have to make it a habit. You can't work out just one day and get a great body from that. You can't work out one day and then, oh man, I forgot to go to the gym for 3 weeks and then work out again. It doesn't work like that. If you just tell yourself, okay, when I fire up my computer, I'm going to post on LinkedIn. I'm going to get it over with in the morning while I'm thinking about it. And that becomes part of your routine. That's the first key to this success here. So just don't overthink it. You don't have to post more than that. You can if you want, but this is more than enough. Or you could even do Monday, Wednesday, and Friday if you want. But get into some habit of posting at least 3 to 5 times per week, preferably once per day, and always in the morning because that's when engagement's the best. The algorithms are going to start picking up your content. As Dave mentioned again, since I habitually do this for years and years and years, my stuff is at the top when people look at their feed. I don't know how much time people spend on LinkedIn cruising the feed, but if you have a big network or your network has a big network, you're going to be competing with a lot of other people to get your stuff seen. Posting once per day will give you the best chances so that the work you're actually putting into the platform is going to get seen by the people in your network. You're going to be more visible. People are going to see your face. They're going to see your name. They're going to see your business. They're going to know you better, which is going to form the basis for any successful business relationship going forward. And you're going to provide continuous value to these people. We're not on here posting pictures of our cats. I may have done that once. I don't remember. Could have. I don't ever want to say never because I don't remember. It's been a long time I've been doing this. But what we're doing is letting people know what we're about in a professional setting. Think about what you tell people about yourself at a networking event, things you talk about, ways that you help people in the profession that you're in. If you post once per day, every single day, people are going to see what it is that you do and how it is you can help them, which is going to lead to more sales and more professional relationships for you. That's the why. Now, I understand if you're not used to posting, this can be a little intimidating. It certainly was for me at the beginning, but we'll keep it really, really, really nice and simple. Just post something relevant to your industry or relevant to your community or relevant to something that you want people to think of when they think of you. If you want, what I've been telling people recently is have a schedule, have Monday be like a motivational post, get people fired up about the work week or something funny. I throw out bad jokes all day long. I'm not going to get any better at them. These are the jokes, and I put them out there, and I try to at least throw some lightheartedness into my network. And I think people really like that. Never spam people. If everything you post is always a business deal or a call to action or an invite for them to do business with you, they're going to tune you out. That's not what people want to see whenever they log on to LinkedIn. You're going to see it, and there might be a place for that, but never spam. You know what spam is. I mentioned motivational. Those are always great posts to get some engagement. Always tag people when you post. I'm going to show you some examples of ways that I've done this. Obviously, tagging people is going to notify that person that you posted and get your post seen by more people. So the more links and the more tag, well, not necessarily links, but the more tags, the better. And what I always like to do is prompt discussion. I'm not just putting stuff out into the metaverse, which is the word now that we're saying. I don't just put stuff out there just so people can see it and maybe press the like button. I want people to think. I want people to engage. I want people to answer a question or give me their input on something. It sparks discussion, and it creates a multiplier effect with your network whenever you prompt discussion. So that's the why and the what. Give yourself a little grace when you start doing this. You're not going to be perfect right out the gate. Don't spend 10 minutes each morning trying to craft the world's most killer LinkedIn post because it doesn't exist. The weirdest stuff of mine gets the crazy amounts of engagement. And sometimes when I really, 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 really want something to take off, it falls dead. It's almost like clockwork. It's crazy. I have no idea how it does that, but don't just post once per day in the morning. Go by these rules here, and you'll be good. You'll be on your way. You'll feel your way out. You'll find your voice. You'll find what your network responds to, and yeah, you'll have your first step down. I'll show you a couple of examples of posts that have been successful for me. Business First is a ripe, fertile ground for finding anything business related. Obviously, not everybody has a subscription. Most of the things are paywalled. A lot of people do, though. This is the great gateway to Nulu building. It had just debuted, I guess is the way they put it. I don't know what phase it was, but this was the first big article I had seen on it since seeing all the construction about it. I pulled the link from the article, put it in there. It gave me this nice image. Images are always great to have. If it's just text, it's easy to get lost in the shuffle. It gave me this nice image. Click on the image, it takes you to the article. I just wrote a little bit of commentary. I tagged Stacy, David, Sean, and El Toro in the post. And it just basically stream of consciousness what I thought when I read the article headline. As you can see, this one got 4,600 views or so, which is a pretty good amount. It got 138. Yeah, I think you can make this bigger if you can't see it on your screen. I can't, but they told me that you could. It got 138 reactions, a few comments on there. I thought that one was pretty successful. For me, this was something that everyone could physically see it if they were in Nulu. It was exciting. El Toro is a rising company in town. Stacy, David, and Sean, none of whom I was connected to, I tagged them in this post, and it got seen by a lot of eyeballs. I think that one was pretty successful. If we go to this one, again, if you can't see this, please maximize it. This is my most successful post in forever. This was a ribbon cutting that we did for Malone's out in the Summit. And I took that top photo, pretty proud of that. It's just a gorgeous place inside. The lighting was beautiful. Look at all that bourbon. Maybe that's what was the most enticing thing about it. They did a ribbon cutting and a bread breaking, which I put pictures of down below. This was a place I was at and a thing that I saw. This was what I do for a living. So I shared it with my network. Obviously, when people join GLI, they do that to market and get the word out about their business. And this fits along with that. This got almost 35,000 views from my network. It got 800 and something reactions and 47 comments. Malone's didn't have a LinkedIn page. Their hospitality group, I think, did, but I wasn't aware that was the business behind this. So I didn't even tag them. I tagged GLI because we did the ribbon cutting. Maybe it was the photos that did this. Who knows? This is a good example of, I didn't really know what to post that day. So I posted these pictures of this ribbon cutting, and boom, 35,000 people see it. All these people in the comments are talking about how they want to go eat there. People were just excited about it in general. This was one that did really, really well. And you can just see engaging photos, just gave a little bit of commentary about what I was doing there and how I think it's interesting to my network. And they ate it up. They loved it. Here are a couple more. Obviously, these are kind of more specific to me. I'm at 6th and Main. Whenever Muscle and Burger Bar finally reopened after the pandemic, I could not have been happier about it. They're right around the corner. Again, business first article. I think they would be okay with you sharing their articles. It all goes back to their page and gets them views. I just shared it and asked who wanted to have a burger, because it's kind of my job to meet people and have conversations with them. And 39 people wanted to meet for a burger. 8,700 people saw the post, and almost 300 people liked it. Again, you just kind of never know. That's a one-liner there and just the share of an article. But obviously the community was just as excited about it as I was. And maybe I should have mentioned this earlier, but the point of doing this is to let people know who you are, to get them to know, like, and trust you. And what we're really, really going to harvest here is the engagement. All those comments, all those reactions, those are all people. Those are all real people that hit the like button or hit the clap button or the heart or whatever and liked your stuff. They liked it. Okay. Whatever that means in the metaverse, it's something. They liked your stuff. So we're going to do something with all this, but that's the point of crafting this content and getting this out there so that people will engage with it. And then the one on the right, this was a pretty recent one. Heine Brothers is opening back up in a different location in the PNC Tower. Wiltshire Pantry is expanding to where Atlantic 5 was. These are both, again, right around the corner from me, very near and dear to my heart, both of these places. So I just snapped some pictures of those and said things are happening on Main Street. Again, very almost identical to the first post. That one got a ton of traction too, even almost as much. When I pull these, the numbers always change. But as you can see, they're just photos and commentary. But we live in Louisville. People love Louisville. They love seeing Louisville do great. I obviously love seeing Louisville do great. And that's just kind of what I'm about. And that's what my network likes. But here's some examples of ways that you can find your voice, very simply share some stuff out there. And you're probably not going to get 9,000 views on your first post. It might not in the first year, maybe not in the first 5 years, to be honest with you. But it will slowly build up. I promise you it will. Okay, so we're posting once per day in the morning. And you're figuring out what it is you want to post. You're going to tweak it as you go along. And then after you do that, you're going to connect with people who engage with you. All of those people, oh gosh, this one took a long time. All these 800 people that reacted to this post, I looked at every single one of them, every single one that I wasn't connected to, and sent them a connection request if they were in the area and they were someone that I would talk to in a networking room. Connect with the people that engage with you. When you first start off, you're probably going to have mostly people in your first degree network engaging with your posts, which means it's someone you're already connected to, which is fine. If that's someone that you want to start a conversation with, maybe you want to get on their calendar for lunch, or you want to, they're a center of influence for you in your industry and someone you want to deepen your relationship with. If they interact with your content, reach out to them and say, hey. And if they're not a connection already, definitely reach out and connect with them. They're familiar with you. They found something you're as valuable, engaging, or fun. And if you feel weird about this or connecting with someone that you don't know or didn't meet at a networking event, it's an open invitation, at least in my eyes. If someone likes your content or comments on it or shares it, to connect, they let you know that they found something of yours valuable. Why wouldn't you reach out and connect with them and get them in your first degree connections? That's what the platform exists to do. So we're always going to connect with people that engage with us. This is a second step that comes after we start posting every single day. We're going to look at our engagement. How do we do this? Again, when you first start off, it will be mostly first degree connections, and it probably won't be a lot, but habit, continuously doing this. I promise it will start to ramp up. I had no network. I had no network when I started. That's not an exaggeration whatsoever. There was nothing there. And it's pretty robust now. So we're going to look at our second degree connections when we're actually looking to expand our network. We're going to vet these people. I don't just connect with everybody, even if it might seem that way so far in the talk. If this is a person that makes sense for me to get connected to, or would make sense for me to be talking to in a networking room, then I'll connect with them. Louisville is a tight-knit, small community, but just big enough that I don't know everybody, and I meet new people all the time. But I always make sure that it's someone valuable to be connected to. You'll find your degrees of however you'd like to vet people as you go along. You're always going to include a message when you send a connection request. There's a little bit of mechanics involved in that, but I promise you can figure it out. If you click connect, there's a little button that says send a message or okay. If you just hit okay, it will send them a canned connection request, and you're just going to look like a robot. You don't want to do that. And then when you have that message, relate it to the post. Whoever liked my Malone's post back here, when I sent them connection requests, I said, hey, thanks for liking my Malone's ribbon cutting post. Would you like to connect? Copy, paste, about 300 times or however many that was. It wasn't 300, but it was a lot. That's what we're doing here. So that's why we're going to connect with people. They have basically waved to you in a networking room. Are you going to go over and say hey to this person, or are you going to totally ignore them? I'll show you how you do this. Whenever you're on your main LinkedIn page, maybe I need to put this in the slides at some point. This is an evolving process, everyone. When you go to your notifications, it lets you know who's been commenting or liking on your post. They're all grouped. We're all familiar with these things. We've been living on social media for a while. If you go there and you click on one of your posts, it will take you to something that looks like this. And you can see all the reactions there at the bottom. And if you click that little ellipses, that is, if you get more than 8, it'll open up this window on the right. And then if you scroll all the way down to the bottom, this one got a lot, so the bar is pretty tiny. All your second degree connections are going to be there at the bottom. Again, if you're just starting off doing this, you might have 5 reactions. Look at those. Look and see who those people are. If none of them are second degree connections, again, see if this is someone that would be beneficial for you to get on a call with or have a coffee with or catch up with. These are that came in your orbit. Do you want to do something about it or don't you? If they're a second degree connection, we're going to connect with them. And that's how as you can see, look, there's a market president, a founding partner, Sean, CEO at Trim Nulu, which is a business there at the Gateway to Nulu building. It's also an El Toro executive. He liked this post. And through doing this, we connected. He's a valuable mentor to me now. He uses LinkedIn quite effectively as well. So I'd never met Sean, and I may have run into him at some point in my travelings. But posting this and really not having any other motivation other than to share something cool and knock out my post for the day and tagging these people, it brought Sean and I together. We've met a couple times. Trim Nulu is a GLI investor now. Opportunities just abound and waiting for you to take advantage of it. And this is a great way to make that happen in a non-salesy way. This is what it looks like to look for your second degree connections or your second degree contacts who have engaged with one of your posts and then reach out to connect with them. I literally right click, open in a new tab, every single one of these people and look at them. And if they meet the vetting process, I request a connection. If they don't, then I don't. Nobody ever knows if I do or not. And then I go on with my day. This is the second step that comes after posting every morning. We're looking at our engagement. We're seeing who's paying attention to our stuff, who we know, who we don't know, who we want to talk to. You get it. We're just networking here. But if you do all this work, creating engaging content and making sure that you don't miss a day of posting and all this stuff, and don't look at actually who's paying attention to your stuff, you're leaving not all the value, but a lot of the value, you're leaving it totally unharnessed. So that was step 2. So far, all that we've asked you to do is post once per day, preferably in the morning, and look at who's engaging with your content. You're going to connect with them if you're not connected already, or if you are connected and it's someone that you want to have a conversation with or get on their radar, you're going to use this as an opportunity to do that. All right, step 3. First, we're posting. Second, we're asking people to connect with us. And then third, whether they're already connected with you or they're a new connection of yours, you're going to start a conversation. There's a messaging platform of LinkedIn. I don't know if anyone in the world, this honest, no exaggeration, I don't know if anyone in the world uses this feature as much as I do, who isn't just a total spammer. I don't know if everyone's gotten those messages that it's totally, you can tell it's a huge paragraph. They didn't read anything about you. They're totally just trying to pitch you without knowing you whatsoever. It's the worst thing ever. Hate that. But you can use the messaging tool to really start to find out if someone's interested in networking, if they're interested in talking. The reason that we want to do this is because unless you reach out and start conversations with people that you bring into your network, you're just going to be a number. They're not going to remember who you are. They might remember you a little bit, but you're missing an opportunity to really, really see if there's some value to be exchanged or a professional relationship to create, nurture, or deepen. You're going to stand out from 99% of the other people on the platform who don't use this feature. And I get great responses from it. Not everybody says hey back. Not everybody wants to talk. I don't message people on here just to talk about the weather. There's always some way I'm trying to add value or figure out if there's a way I can add value. But just use networking norms whenever you're starting conversations with people. Again, I know this might be very uncomfortable at first, but you'll get used to it. You'll get used to it. Again, just think about what you would say to someone you just walked up to in a networking room. Just be natural. So that's the why. If you do all this work to create engaging content and then actually do the work to mine your engagement and connect with people, and then don't start a conversation with them, you got all the way to the 1 yard line and then didn't go any further, because the magic really happens is when you start talking to folks, figure out if there's a coffee meeting to be had or a call to be had or some way that you can help them just out of the goodness of your heart so that, they think of you whenever they need something of yours in the future. How are we going to do this? Again, just use natural conversation. LinkedIn, it's a huge treasure trove of data. You can see what you have in common with people. You can see if you went to the same school, if you're familiar with the place that they worked last. You can find out more about these people on this platform than you ever could if you're in a room with someone and they have their name tag and it says their name and where they work. That's all the info you get. With LinkedIn, if you go to someone's profile, you can see pretty much everything business related about them. And they put that on there so that other people can see it. It's not strange or weird. This is their online resume. They want people to know these things about them. So you can always do that if you're having trouble figuring out what to start talking about. But for the love of God, just don't hard sell people when you connect with them. That's just the worst thing ever. No one's ever responded to a message like that positively. I don't know why people do that, because there's no way that they actually get anywhere with it. But just think about those things when you're reaching out and starting conversations with people. I'll show you a little bit what this looks like exactly. So think of these as 3 separate days. Day 1, I posted, and I got on my computer when I first opened it up. I posted something, and then it took me all of 2 minutes, and then I went and did whatever it is I did for the rest of the day. On the second day, I went in there, I posted something because we're going to do this every day, and then I looked at my engagement from yesterday. Maybe some people engaged with it, maybe they didn't. If they did and they weren't a connection already, I reached out and sent a connection request. Sometimes people accept those automatically. Sometimes they accept them like 10 months later. Sometimes they never accept them. It doesn't really matter. You can't control that. So day 3, I posted something that I thought my network would like. I looked at my engagement from the previous day. And then I looked over here in my messages, because whenever someone does accept a connection request, they're going to wind up here. As you can see, Corinne, she liked a Kentucky Kingdom post of mine. Yes, there's a typo in there. I see that, but I think this is a good slide still. She liked my Kentucky Kingdom post, and as you can see, very like I just showed you. Thanks for liking my Kentucky Kingdom post. Would you like to connect? It's very simple. It again makes you stand out. It reminds you how you got connected to this person in the first place, because when you start doing this on a massive scale, like it's become for me, then there's no way on earth you can remember how it was that you came to be connected with this person. So the message is really, really, really important for a couple of reasons. But here's where everybody sort of lands. She said, yes, I would. It could have been one of those autoresponders. Who knows? Who cares? The point is that she connected. So I'm sure I said something about the merger. I think it was a buyout of Kentucky Kingdom. I'm kind of embarrassed that I don't know for sure by now as many talks as I've given on this topic and talked about this slides. But we talked about something Kentucky Kingdom related. She's a realtor at West Group Realtor. I probably looked in our CRM to see if they were a GLI investor. If they were, I probably let her know that and asked her if she wanted to talk about her benefits. If they weren't, I probably shared an event we have coming up and invited her to a networking event. Again, these are just things you would say in a networking atmosphere. And if you look on the left, if you do this every single day, the people that will connect with you will land in here, and you have all these conversations going. So Willie, right below her, probably the exact same thing. Yes, absolutely. Probably answering when I said, would you like to connect? Bailey down there, we're obviously a little further in the conversation. She's telling me something about what she does. Jennifer said likewise about something. Chris and I were talking about Sean Stafford. Jamie down there, same thing with the Kentucky Kingdom post, but we're connecting with people when we're starting conversations. Sometimes people don't respond. That's okay. Honestly, it's honestly the majority of the time. I don't know whether I should tell you that or not, but I want you to be prepared for whenever you actually do get to this point and, okay, now I've figured out the perfect thing to talk to this person about or whatever, and they don't respond. It just happens. It happens. People are busy. They may not want to chat, but if you do this enough, you will create a big enough funnel that the people that want to engage with you and want to spend the time developing a professional relationship for whatever reason that may be are going to self-select themselves in to your funnel. And then the other people that don't are going to self-select themselves out, and you don't have to worry about them. This is what the conversation piece looks like. This is really where the magic happens. This is where your sales chops get to be used. You get to help let them know what's going on in your network, what you're excited about coming up. Again, just picture yourself in a networking room, have conversations with people. I mean, I don't get on here and say, hey, how was your weekend? If it's Monday and I haven't talked to them, well, I don't do that whatsoever. They go for as long as they want and then they die. We either get to a phone call or a coffee or we don't. But these things live in here forever. So if I run into these people sometime down the road, this happens to me all the time. I'll be at a talk or something. I'll go to connect with someone who's at the talk. Obviously, I'll send them a message. Hey, I loved your talk at so-and-so. Would you like to connect? And I'll go to this person's profile and I'll see that we're already connected. And I'll go to the messages and I'll see that we've had some big, long conversation about something. And there's no way on earth for me to remember all this stuff, as many people as I talk to, but it lives here. So you can jump off from these conversations whenever you want. If you share something about you or, a link to your website, it lives there forever. This is all just business related. Those are the 3 steps. And here are the results from doing this habitually. You'll have an expanded network, obviously. You'll meet more people on LinkedIn than you ever could going out and shaking hands at a networking event. You're going to have more conversations, which is great. That's what we all wake up to do. I like talking to people, so that's good for me. You're going to have industry influence. If people see your face more and they know more about what you do and you're talking more about the ways that you help people, people are going to think about you whenever they think about these certain things. You're also going to get a lot of meaningful insight from your network. All of these people that we're connecting with, it's not just a one-way street. The platform doesn't exist just for you to shout out what it is that you're doing. They're doing the same thing. And hopefully by giving more of these talks, I'm empowering people to share what's going on in their professional lives. So you're going to start to see what's going on where, who's connected to who, what someone cares about, the causes that they're involved in. All of these things when it comes to forming relationships and sales are solid gold. These are people sharing their lives out here. And it's a really, really, really great way to just get to know people on more than a surface level. And then obviously at the end of the day, more sales. That's what I get paid to do. If I didn't make sales, I wouldn't be employed. So I would like to stay employed. I like my job very much. And doing this on LinkedIn, as simple as it seems and as harmless as it seems, it's sales related. I'm trying to get to know people out there to see if there is a sale to be made. It's not every person, but it's a really great feeling whenever you have enough prospects and enough conversations that you can lean into those that you know that there's a sale and you know that they would benefit, and those that you're not sure or you don't want to push them too hard. You don't have to. You're literally inundated with prospects and potential opportunities 24/7. It's yours for the picking, and you can definitely turn something like this into more sales for you and your organization. With that, it's 12:42. I talked for 40 minutes straight. I'm going to take a breather now and turn it back over to Dave or whoever has any questions.
Thanks, Jordan. You make it sound so simple, and you do a great job doing it. But from looking, a guy like me, it's kind of intimidating to get started. But let me ask you this question. We've got a lot of people on today from all over the state. Bowling Green and Lexington and just around. So, for example, let's say someone in Bowling Green, they want to tap into something out of their market. Let's say they want to tap into the Louisville market. How would you use what you describe, your process to do that? Is there a way to do that?
That's a great question. What you just heard from me is really the scope of my expertise on the platform. And it's really all that I have needed to use it to my effect. There's a ton of untapped potential to use LinkedIn in a myriad of ways for a myriad of things. If I were in that scenario, I would, you can search and you can filter your searches by executives or business professionals in a certain area. If I were thinking about a strategy to do that, I would try to start some conversation about something going on in Louisville, or share some content about something Louisville related, so that people in that community would start gravitating toward that and talking about it. And but yeah, I would maybe use good old friend Google for that one, since it seems like maybe a little bit more of a technical question.
Okay. Honest answer, Jordan. I appreciate that.
Yeah, I'm all about it.
Shannon says she wants to know, do you think that you get more engagement when you add photos to your post?
Yeah, 100%. I don't think it's a hard and fast rule that you always have to post a photo. LinkedIn's not really a photo sharing platform per se, but I will say, after doing this for years and years and years and years, the posts with photos, as you've seen, especially those of something going on, everyone has a good camera on their phone these days, put that little 3x3 grid on it, make sure that it looks nice. That's what I do. And those posts always outperform posts with just a link to register to something, or if you reshare someone else's post, those sometimes die dead in the water. So the photos definitely help, but you have to make sure it's something that is applicable. You don't just share photos just for the point of sharing photos, right? It's got to be something that's informative and fun and engaging and valuable to your network for whatever reason it is that you're on the platform in the first place. But yeah, photos are always great.
Good. And just from what I see from you, a lot of times, Jordan, I wonder where you get this stuff. It's just sort of random stuff in a way. You mentioned early on that sometimes you have like a plan, like on Mondays, you're going to do X type of subject. Kind of walk us through that again real quick.
Sure. So when I first started out, that's definitely what it was. It was like Monday was my motivational post. Wednesday, when I was a financial advisor, that is, I would post an article. It was dry as toast, but that's all that I could really do at that time. And in between there, maybe I would share stuff or whatever, but I always tried to make sure that I wasn't repetitive. They weren't hearing about what it is that I did for a living every single day. I think that's probably important to mention now, given the fact that I am everywhere all the time and do some interesting stuff. I'll snap photos of new development in Nulu or a new business opening somewhere on Main Street and leave it in my photo gallery so that, whenever I was stuck in traffic the other morning and couldn't get to work in time. And it's 8 o'clock. That's my one shot that day to expand my network and make an impression. I really value this opportunity and this network that I have. So I shared a couple photos of Heine Brothers in Wiltshire that I had in my gallery. I didn't know when I was going to share that, but that was a great time as traffic was not moving. And, said things are happening on Main Street. So I just kind of collect things as I go along, but business first articles are always great, or anything that your company puts out as marketing material. There's endless amounts of possibilities.
Okay. So Guillermo would like to know, he says he's from another country. I guess he goes to some other stuff, but he kind of feeling like might be a little bit intimidated about engaging this way. I mean, any advice for somebody like that that's not super?
So he said, did not attend high school in Louisville. I didn't attend high school in Louisville.
Yeah.
How's that for a flex? I grew up in Grayson County, Litchfield. I moved here in 2006, went to U of L. It wasn't until 2013 that I started at this career as a financial advisor that I had any incentive whatsoever to network. I started really with nobody and nobody paying attention to me, absolutely zero. That's where I came from. If you do this stuff, this is where you can get. So I would say that's the proof right there.
Yeah. So Michael says, from a thought leadership concept, how do you filter out what are good resources or versus not as good resources?
I don't really know if I understand the question there.
Yeah, Michael, why don't you post a little bit more for us?
Yeah,
there?
ask him to clarify. We'll go on to the next one for now.
Yeah. So David asks, so it seems you lead with more general observations in your post versus a direct, what I can do for you. Does your more service-oriented conversations happen in messaging versus your posts?
Yes, 100%. And this is just how I do it. I always think to myself, Jordan, you should post more about GLI and what it is you do here and how it is you help people. And I never get around to it because I really don't have to. The way that I do things, at least, I just draw people in and start the conversation, and then it happens there. That way, it's more of people already warmed up. They kind of like something that you posted, and you're talking already. Versus, they have to take all the effort to engage with something if it's service based or call to action, and if that makes sense. I think there's a place for that. There definitely is. I'm not the pro at it. It's not my strategy, but I always think it would be good if you're trying to figure out one of those days, what you're going to post on that day, post a story about how you helped somebody recently. That's what people do in B&I whenever they ask for their referrals. Sometimes they say, if you just go there and say, I'm looking for someone to roll their 401k over, that's, so generic. If you go and say, hey, I helped Mary the other day who left her job and blah, 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 blah. And then they think of someone in that scenario, then they're more likely to give you a referral. Think of that whenever you're thinking of ways to craft your messaging on there for posts like that.
That's a great idea. Shannon says, you say that you tag in your posts. Is it good or kind of shady look if you tag a company that you would like to notice your brand?
I don't think anything is shady about tagging a company. It gets more eyeballs on their business. I think that's why they have a LinkedIn profile, a business profile in the first place. I think that the gaining visibility for business is always great. Hopefully the way that I showed in my examples came across as celebratory and no other way trying to be shady or maybe I don't understand the question so much, but hopefully I answered it a little bit.
Yeah. So I guess that would not be super spammy salesy to do that then.
I mean, just don't post, hey, Norton Healthcare, why won't you do business with me? I would be really great at helping you solve this problem. Maybe that would not be good to do. Yeah.
I'm going to ask you a really specific question. So give us an example of like an opening sentence for the opening natural conversation that you would have after
Sure. If you always include a message when you reach out to connect, which is one of those rules that I talked about, always include a message. That is your opening. That's the opening of the conversation. It goes in the conversation as a message. It's what they see whenever they look in that same place. So it's already opened. They like something of yours, and you said thank you for that. Always, saying thank you is always great. It's a great way to start a conversation. You thank them for that, and then you ask them to connect. So piggyback off of that. That's why I do that all the time, because otherwise, you're trying to start cold, and who knows what to talk about, and we don't know each other. It's whatever. It always goes off of the post every single time, 100%.
Cool. Hannah says, "Thank you for all the helpful insight. It is much appreciated."
Yeah, absolutely. It's as corny as it sounds, I've made tons of really good friends on LinkedIn. Maybe that's not what everybody here wants to do, but being in my career and the age that I'm at, I'm 33. I feel like I'm just getting started in my career. I feel like there's a lot of potential and opportunity, and I like to surround myself with smart individuals, people that are smarter than me and influential and motivated. And this is a great way to meet people like that. So I would encourage everyone to kind of look at it. Whatever it is that you want to get out of it, you can do it.
Mm-hmm. So everybody out there that's watching, I would encourage, if you're not already connected to Jordan, to search him out and connect, and just, if nothing else, watch and see what happens every morning at 8:00, because it is amazing what happens.
Yeah, so, no obligation whatsoever. Yeah, you can reach out and connect with me. I, as you know now, have a trillion conversations on there. Happy to get back to you, see if there's some value I can provide for you. It's just people helping people. And especially in 2020, if I hadn't had this process in place and this habit and this platform that I was comfortable using, how was I supposed to meet people and make sales all of last year? That was immediately go back to cold calling, and you couldn't even door knock. People weren't even at their businesses. This is a really crucial tool to have, and I just encourage everybody to use it more.
Yeah. Looks like that's all the questions we have. Just a reminder, everybody, later on this afternoon, you'll get a replay here, so you can watch us talk about LinkedIn over and over again. And then Ryan, just put our survey in the chat, if you would click on that and give us a little feedback on what went on today. And if you have any suggestions for future webinars, please give me some suggestions too. So.
Well, thank you, Dave. It's always a pleasure to be a guest here. Obviously, we see each other in the office all the time, but I do appreciate it so much. You do really great work with the SBDC.
And so do you, Jordan. Appreciate everything you do for us, and you are an impressive LinkedIn master. So everybody tap into Jordan. So, all right. Thanks, everybody, and we will see you next week. Have a good week.
Thank you for joining today's webinar. At the Kentucky SBDC, we know small businesses are the heart of our economy. That's why our goal is to help business owners start, grow, and succeed in Kentucky. Find out more about how our no-cost business coaching, training, and resources can help your business. Visit us at KentuckySBDC.com.